All right. Hi, y'all. Welcome to another episode. So in this episode, I want to talk a little bit about number 69, right? Because as you guys know, like this is it, right? Like I'm off of dating apps for a little while. I was trying to just give myself a little bit of like a break, and just the way life works out, which is kind of awesome because I always think everything's about fucking timing, is right when I decided that I wanted to take a break from dating, right? And I felt like, I'm good. I can be single. I can enjoy my friends and family, my dog, whatever. I connect with 69, right? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a little bit of update of what's happening there. I want to talk about Apple. I fucking love Apple. Like I am definitely like part of the fucking like Apple ecosystem. Like I fucking love everything Apple. I'm actually shopping for a couple of like a Mac Thin Air right now, but fucking anyway, fucking love Apple. Love my iPad. I have like my work phone and my actual phone are both like iPhones. Fucking love Apple. Have Apple TV. Anyway, so even though I fucking love Apple and I think Apple's like the shit, there is something that I just found out about that was released this year, and it's called an AirTag. And I want to talk a little bit about like escaping surveillance and just a little bit about technology and just, situational awareness, right? Okay, but before I talk about all of that, I want to talk about first date. I'm going to this is like a major fucking throwback too. I want to talk about first date number 4. Okay, so as you all know, right, I thought I was like really fucking happily married, and I woke up to a text message, which actually next month will be 2 years. So about 2 years ago, right, I woke up to that text message almost 2 years ago, and it broke my heart. I was completely shattered, fucking cried every fucking day, right? Then I decided to go on the dating apps in July when a friend of mine flew in. And so basically from February to July, I fucking cried every day, right? So once I went on the dating apps though, I wasn't really sure of what I was looking for or how the processes worked, or I just wasn't really sure, right? Like I pretty much have a type, right? Which I joke about all the time. But I don't know exactly why number 4 and I connected, because his type is completely not me either, which is actually kind of funny. So he's a great guy. He's turned into like a great friend, but I love our story because it's ridiculous, right? Okay. So I wasn't really sure what I was doing, right? The first 3 dates didn't go great. And we matched and he made me laugh. And then, of course, laughter is fucking important to me, right? Fucking made me laugh. And then he started sending me the most like dark humor, obscene, like, pornographic, hilarious fucking memes, right? And our friendship like blossomed at that point, right? So we were sharing memes and it was fucking awesome. Okay, so also at the same time that I met number 4, and neither one of us are, each other's types, which is hilarious to me now. And we were exchanging the memes, right? We're getting along really well. At the same time, I was talking to or chatting with another person on an app at the same time. So, of course, I'm not going to share too many details because, I really, really do try to respect privacy. But I'm not going to say their names, obviously, but their names are almost identical, right? So they had the same first name and their last name similar, not identical, but similar. And the reason this is important is because the first one that I actually talked with, and we actually never actually went on a date, which happens sometimes with dating apps. But anyway, because of the pandemic and because of COVID and everything, the first guy was like the one that was not number 4, but could have been, was kind of like, yeah, so, with the pandemic, things are closed because this was the beginning of it all happening and everything like unfolding. So a lot of things in New York were like not open or closed, or just like the opening and closing changed what felt like every fucking day, right? So he was like, I really want to meet you. You're like really cute. You're like really funny. I think we'll get along great, but, nothing is really open. So, the weather's kind of nice because it's fucking July, right? So he was just like, why don't we meet at a parking lot? Which sounds so fucking crazy, but remember, nothing's fucking open, right? He was like, why don't you meet at a parking lot, have a couple of really nice, like, fucking camping chairs, and I'll bring a bottle of wine, and, like, I have my phone, I have, like, a Bluetooth speaker. We can just listen to music, share the wine, and talk in a parking lot. And I was kind of like, it's really cool. Let's fucking do it, right? But the way it worked out, we never did it. Well, I went to work, of course, because, we fucking worked the whole time. Like, I never really worked from home during the pandemic. Anyway, so I went to work and I was like, okay, talking to one of my work best friends. And I was like, yeah, so, I've been talking to this guy and this is his name, right? And I was like, yeah, we actually connected on Facebook, and like I kind of checked him out, like he's kind of funny. What do you think? So of course my friend, half listening because he's my friend, is like, yeah, whatever. I'm happy for you, Mac, whatever. I don't give a shit, basically, right? So, but I was telling him about the date. I was like, but this is what he wants to do. And he was like, it's really cool. And then he went back, of course, to like half listening because for one, he's a man, and two, he's my work friend. Anyway, so forgot all about it, right? And then my work friend, I don't know, a few days later, less than a handful fucking days later, was like, hey, Mac, I'm going to throw a party. It's going to do a bonfire. I'm going to invite the office. I'm going to invite, a girl like I'm dating. I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's awesome as shit. And he's like, yeah, bring Ike, my dog if you want or whatever. And he was like, have a couple drinks. And I was like, yeah, it's fucking awesome. I was like, I haven't been to a bonfire for a while. And he lives in this like beautiful house with this fucking giant yard. I was like, it'd be fucking perfect to have a bonfire. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, perfect. Now bring some Jack. It'll be awesome. He's like, great. Right. So we're planning for a little bit of it, right? Almost everybody in my office likes to cook, so we're all planning foods and everything. And then, of course, my friend was kind of like, hey, are you going to bring that guy you were telling me about? And I was like, what guy? And he was like, the guy that has the name that's very similar to the other guy, similar to number 4. And he was like, the guy with the wine. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. I don't really know, because at that point, we had already stopped talking as much or chatting as much, right? So I'm like, I don't know. And then he's like, you're friends with Facebook, right? And I'm like, yeah. Okay, so here's the problem. I'm fucking deaf, right? Which we all know. At this point, I didn't have my hearing aids. I have them now, and ironically, I almost lost one of them today, but whatever. So I didn't have my hearing aids at the time. So for one, I'm a female, right, with selective hearing because, I'm in the Army, and the Army has taught me to be selective anyway. So, and of course, it's my work friend. So, we both kind of half listen to each other, right? Anyway, so, and I'm distracted at work doing God knows what the fuck I'm doing, half listening. And then he's like, hey, so what was the guy's name again? So I say the guy's name who's similar to number 4, but not number 4, almost number 4, but not, right? And so he says the name. I'm like, yeah, that's him. So of course my types are almost fucking like identical mirror images of one another, right? So he's like, this guy here with the beard. I'm of course not fucking paying attention. I'm like, yeah, whatever, like, leave me alone. So I forgot about it. Life went on. A few hours later, he was like, hey, Mac, so I invited the guy with a similar name who was not the actual, number 4. He was like, I invited him to the bonfire. It's going to be cool as shit. And I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, yeah, I sent him a message. And he's coming. And I was like, holy fuck. But I'm like, whatever, it's fine. I'm going to be with my work friends, possibly bring Ike, obviously I'm going to bring a bottle of Jack for my buddy because that's his favorite, and whatever. And, I'm going to eat some good food, right? So I didn't worry about it too much. And then the wrong one, who ended up being number 4, basically was kind of like, hey, yeah, so I just got a message from so-and-so. And I'm like, yeah, that's my work friend. And he's like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. And I was like, yeah, fuck it. Why not? It'll be fine. Right. And then remember, like, we get along really well. So at this point we hadn't met, but we were exchanging a lot of like memes and stuff. So we were already kind of in the habit of like laughing a little bit throughout the day, every day. Anyway, so the reason I love this story so fucking much is because we met, oh my God, that evening was one of those funny fucking movies too, because it ended up being like it was like 15 people there or so. My work buddy brought his like new girlfriend at the time, and it was hilarious because we didn't like her. I'll actually probably talk about her a little bit at some point, just about, like if your friends like people you're dating or whatever. Anyway, so that was like the first time basically that he had actually gone out with her, which makes it even funnier. And then the wrong person, was invited. So it's the first time that I had like hung out with this would have been new person, right, as well. So basically my buddy and I brought like 2 people to this bonfire party with individuals that we had never met before. So it was actually kind of funny. And it was actually a fucking fun evening. Like, we all had way too many drinks. We all had really fucking good food. We had so much fun at the bonfire. It was just awesome. It was like such a fucking great memory. What's funny about it is, I knew instantly when I laid eyes on my date, right? I knew instantly, because remember I said he wasn't my type. He's a nice guy. But I just knew instantly there's like fucking no chemistry, because that's how the way it goes, right? Like there's a lot of dick, as I always say, but chemistry is hard to find. Dick's everywhere. Chemistry is not, right? So, he's a great guy, we did like the awkward hug, and I knew almost instantly I was not his type either, which was fine because, he hung out. He was a great sport. He drove, a couple hours, there to like meet us all. The evening was fun. We ended up all getting, as I said, we're all safe, right? So, Mom, if you're listening, we're all fucking safe, but we all ended up drinking too much, right? We all ended up just with funny stories. The girl, by the way, got so drunk that she actually started climbing and jumping all over my date. And it was really funny because I can be really jealous and I can be like super fucking possessive. So we took photos of it later and like we just kept like making fun of it for days because I was like, bitch, get off my man. And it was funny because he's obviously not my man, but it was just hilarious, right? It was so fun. Anyway, it's a fun evening. The reason I wanted to talk about this date, aside from the fact that we all had too many drinks, the bonfire was awesome, food was good, we all had fun, wrong person went, is because life is so weird with fucking timing. Because this guy, who actually ended up being number 4, and I, to this day, almost 2 years later, have become really good friends. Like, I have a really small inner circle, which is one of the reasons I think I like the podcast and talking about it on my Facebook so much, because my Facebook page is really kind of just like a group chat, basically, right? It's kind of like a group text message thing. So I deleted a lot of people, and I actually deleted some more yesterday. And anyway, so he's become one of my great friends. So that's the thing about timing that I think is awesome about life, right? You may decide to like open one door and then the door may take you somewhere else, or the door doesn't open, or you have to kick down a window or kick down a fucking door because you can't fucking kick down a window, but you fucking know what I mean. So that's one of those things to me that I think is so fascinating, because the wrong person, number 4, we did not like each other physically, but oh my God, our personalities and our sense of humor is so fucking awesome. And he has become somebody that I talk to almost every day for like advice and laughs and stuff. So there's so many things that I want to talk about. I can't talk about it all at one time. So I'm actually going to drop 2 podcasts in a row. So they're going to be out tomorrow morning. Actually, this one I might actually put out tonight. But it's just because I have so much that I want to catch up with you guys. Like, so much is going on with 69, right? And there's just so many things like happening in the world and within culture that I just want to talk about. But this, I guess, is kind of like a good segue to talk about what else I want to talk about, right? Which is kind of interesting to me because, as I said before, I fucking love Apple, love their products. And I actually think they did a really fucking good job. But so there's a thing called an AirTag, right? It's like really fucking inexpensive. It's a circle. You can attach it to like a keychain. It's pretty thin, lightweight. You can attach it to like a purse and clothing, like a jacket pocket. And it's really cool because what it does is it kind of gives you like live updates of where it is. So like Apple designed it, I think specifically so that way you could attach it to your phone or to your keys or whatever. And that way you could track it with your phone, right? Because you can fucking do everything with your phone, right? Which I fucking love in 2022. But the problem is, the AirTag, since it's pretty inexpensive, right, and it has like a good like live GPS update capability, specifically if you have a really good Wi-Fi or like phone signal, like your cellular data is like on point, it will pinpoint exactly where that AirTag is. So even though I love, for the most part, like humanity, well, for the most part, not all the public, but for the most part, I love humanity, and I like to think that inherently we're good people. We're really not sometimes. So this device, which was designed to be helpful, has actually been used to track people. There's a couple celebrities or a couple supermodels who found it randomly within their jacket, and one was like behind their license plate because it's really small, and they realized that they were being tracked. So the thing about Apple AirTags is really cool. So the distance isn't great, but if somebody is trying to find you and trying to harm you, and they have like no good intentions for you, this is an easy way for them to track your location. So it kind of sucks because you don't know if somebody has planted something on you, right? But what's really cool about Apple, and one of the reasons I love them, they have some safety features in there. So after a certain amount of time and a certain amount of movement, it will like make a beeping sound, and that beeping sound kind of alerts you and alerts your fucking phone that there's an AirTag nearby, right? So it's kind of cool because it has a safety feature, so that way it tells you if you're being tracked, right? So I think it's really fucking cool. I'm sure that there is a way around that for people who have no good intentions for you, but unfortunately I don't have the answers to everything, but I did want to really talk about the AirTags because they're inexpensive and you could be fucking tracked, and it's fucking sucks, but the technology is awesome. I actually lost my one of my hearing aids today, which is one of the fucking problems with the mask, right? You see all the fucking memes with the mask and the glasses, and people are like, oh my God, you don't know how terrible they've pandemic has been, right? Because of condensation. Well, motherfucker, I wear hearing aids, right? And they fucking hook to the top of or they rest rather. They don't even fucking hook to the top of my ear. So when I have to take off my fucking mask, sometimes the fucking hearing aid comes out and they're light and I don't feel them, which is awesome, but it still fucking sucks if I lose them. Anyway, so I lost one today. And for the first time, I was able to actually track it with my phone. And that's what made me think about the fucking AirTags again and the whole bit, because my fucking hearing aid, which is Octacon, fucking awesome hearing aids from the Army, love them. Even though sometimes I actually enjoy not hearing. I just like peace and quiet, but whatever. I was able to track my hearing aids and it was really cool because I could track the right, the left. Anyway, I ended up finding it and it was fucking awesome. But I guess one of the things I just really wanted to talk about, because I don't really have an answer for AirTag safety completely, is just like if you are being like tracked, if somebody is like surveilling you, right, in some way, if you feel like you're being followed, if you feel like there's possibly more than one person who's trying to do you harm, whether they're trying to like mug you, kidnap you, whatever. I mean, you don't really know, right? But there's a couple of like tips that I wanted to talk about with just like evading or escaping surveillance. Like if you think you're being tailed, which I always like love talking about certain scenarios like this because I always think of spy movies. But I have to tell you, some of the fucking tips in the spy movies, even though they might be a little ridiculous and over the top, fucking awesome, right? So one of the easiest things to do is to, if you feel like you're being followed by one or multiple people, is if you create like a fucking like an accordion, right? If you like, say you're going from point A to point B, you want to make frequent stops and you want to zigzag and you want to go back and forth, sometimes the wrong direction rather, and then end up in the right direction, because that amount of frequency creates like an accordion, and that could be enough to just, especially if you're moving fucking quickly, that could be enough for somebody to like lose track of you, right? So basically just think of an accordion, think about going from point A to point B in the most fucking zigzag fashion you can. If you feel like you're being tracked, one of the best things to do is to put yourself in a public location. It's one of the other great things to do is put yourself in public transportation, right? So like say you're being tracked and you're walking on foot, you know, like you're in the city, whatever, fucking loving life. And then you feel like somebody's following you. Instead of going to like one restaurant, you can go to like 4 cafes and then go back and forth. And then hopefully you can lose this person. But more importantly, while you're trying to lose them with the accordion effect, hopefully you end up in a very fucking public location with public transportation. You could use an app like Noonlight or something, and then you could try to like alert people to help you, right? So that's one of the best things to do when it comes to like evading surveillance, is just trying to lose that person, right? You want to take public transportation because of course you can alert people and then you're like in the fucking public. And of course you want to leave your car if you have to, because I talked about it through the city, but if you're fucking driving, if you feel like your life is in danger, fuck your car and then get in public transportation. Public transportation is just safer. You're not alone. There's ways to like ask for help when you're like on public transit, right? Especially if you're like in the city or something. So the other thing too is just to think about, because you don't know if you're being followed, right? And the AirTag by Apple will alert you that you are being tracked. But one of the easiest things you can do, especially when you think about situational awareness and just safety in general, is you can fucking just like change your scenario, right? Like I've talked about before, I like to go to like a gas station that has my favorite fucking coffee almost every day, right? But I don't go every day, and I slightly go to work at different times, and I slightly take different routes. I live in a pretty fucking small town, so for me to take slightly different routes and leave at slightly different times is really fucking easy, right? But so for me, I'm lucky in that way. But when it just comes to safety, specifically if you're by yourself, it's just much easier to like change your routine. You know, I actually been in the Army for almost 13 years. So like routine is like ingrained in my head. But as far as like safety in the civilian setting, just changing your routine slightly helps a lot. Okay, guys, so if you guys have any questions about anything, always feel free to reach out. I definitely love chatting with you every day. You always make my day just so much brighter, and I definitely appreciate it. More importantly, I want you guys to know that I'm here. So if you need anything, I'm fucking here. And